Aside from vegetables that you grow annually, you have things like fruits which you plant once and prune, and they will provide you with gorgeous fruit for years to come. So one of the main things we wanted to achieve on the homestead is having a fruit garden that we can harvest lots of different kinds of fruits for each year, and then hopefully look after them with minimal pruning. Now this is the vine garden we planted last year, and we didn't keep on top of the mowing, and it has been basically suppressed by all these weeds. So we've dug up all of the raspberries and the tayberries and the loganberries and the goji berries, and now we're going to put in some rows and plant in a bigger vine garden, which is going to be easier for us to manage in the years to come. So this was our biggest achievement this week, because we managed to get over 100 vines and fruit bushes in the ground. We've got raspberries, both summer and autumn. We've got Japanese wineberry, thornless blackberries, tay and loganberries, and lots of honeyberries as well. And this is one of those jobs that we've been waiting to do for such a long time. And because we have heavy clay soil, we have to wait for the ground conditions to be just right. Now, because Mr. Sunshine put his hat on, we thought we needed to push through and get this done in case he did decide to stay out for the foreseeable future and the ground dried up too much for us to get anywhere with it. We're really pleased we managed to get these in the ground, and all we need to do now is pop in some irrigation and some wires on the support posts, and we should be good to go. Because I've started everything from seed, and I'm growing a year's worth of food to feed me and my family, plus a little bit extra to sell to friends too, one of my biggest challenges this week with Mr. Sunshine in all his glory is keeping these plants happy and thriving in such small pots. I am desperate to get all of these plants into the ground so they can grow into their full potential, but with the risk of it still being a little bit cold some nights, I'm having to hold them back. That being said, I did decide to put my tomatoes out because I have been hardening these plants off for over a week, and as I say, I'm just desperate to get them in the ground. The first ones that are going in are the tomatoes, because they're the ones that have been ready for the longest. If you've seen from my previous videos, you will know that I'd killed off the first round of tomatoes that I did in February, which, to be fair, I'm kind of pleased about, because I do still have some left from those and they are massive, but I'm more than happy with the size of these ones. Now, many people tell you to grow tomatoes either in a greenhouse or a polytunnel, or to cover them with something because of the risk of blight in the UK because of the rain, because it's such a damp climate. But I'm taking a chance and planting them directly into the soil out in the pasture, because I just have too many that I want to grow for the space that I have indoors. Last year I grew around 70 plants, and they were all in pots, and I used a little greenhouse tomato cage things, and it was just too much for me to manage, with all the pots needing to be watered and all of the plants needing to be pruned. So this year I'm planting around 30 plants, but they're going straight into the ground, and I'm going to mulch them with sheep's wool to hopefully protect them from any soil-borne disease. I surrounded the bed with marigolds and onions just to try out a bit of companion planting, so we'll see how they get on throughout the summer. I do have some metal T-posts come in, and I'm going to do a California, or is it Florida weave? I can never remember, to support the plants as they grow. So when they get delivered, I'll do a video of us putting those in situ. The next thing I managed to get into the ground was my runner beans. Now, in my head, I had visions of a nice 8-foot teepee for them to sprawl all over, But in reality, these are the biggest canes I could find. So until I can get somewhere to get some bigger canes, these are just going to have to do. Either way, that's a lot more plants in the ground and a lot less for me to babysit. It annoys me how gardening can become something that is so expensive, and I much prefer to try a use what you've got kind of approach. Now, we're quite lucky that we did have a lot of stuff left on the farm when we moved here, so we have been able to pick up quite a bit of equipment before we've began. But when you do start looking into support frames and having to build things, if you are wanting to buy everything like this so it looks all prim and proper and perfect, it is going to end up costing you a fortune. And all too many times people feel too much pressure to have such a perfect garden that it just takes the fun out of everything. So what if your teepee is a little bit smaller, or your canes are crooked, or you're using some old string you found in the charity shop, just like I am here? As long as it does the job and you can grow beautiful, nutritious, homegrown vegetables to feed your family, what is the big deal? I mean, I'm well aware that these runner beans are going to outgrow these teepees by the time that they fully mature. And I do intend to find some bigger canes, but I am not in a rush to go out and spend a lot of money in order to do so.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say. I need a break. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. Face on when I chase like that, yeah, I play so strong with a knife in the back. I'ma swing home run like a baseball bat. Gonna see me rise, you can hate on that. I don't play both sides, doing me no cap. I'ma ride or die for my dreams on tap. I'ma fly real high, you ain't see me slack. No, it's not how you fall, it's how you get right back up. That's how you get tough, calluses on my hands so rough. Yeah, I call your bluff, I'm not the one. Mess with me and come out with none, cause I'm so done. You had your fun, and now you're gonna face down the barrel of the gun. Cause I got a full clip with your name on it, but I'ma let you slide cause you ain't worth it. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on.
My polytunnel is something that always stresses me out. I don't know if it's because the size of it is so small compared to the things I want to grow in order to feed my family for a year, so that I have to keep shuffling things around and changing things, or I can never really decide 100% what I want to grow in there. I know that I'm always going to grow some tomatoes in there because they are going to be under cover in case the outside ones do get blight. We do have the big grapevine in the corner, but other than that, I'm always really stuck for what to grow. There are lots of Chinese cabbage in here that were doing absolutely fine until the sun came out, and now as you can see they've all gone to seed. So I finally decided to pull everything out that wasn't actually growing the way it should be and plant in the final crops that are going to be there for the summer. The main reason I struggle to decide what to grow in the polytunnel is because there is a really big pear tree to one side of it, which naturally was really small when the polytunnel went in around 15 years ago, but now it is an absolute giant. So it does shade the polytunnel for the first half of the day, which essentially means the polytunnel is shaded rather than being in a full sun position. And I don't consider myself to be an experienced gardener yet to be able to make the best decisions about what crops grow in the best environments. Every year I try and grow different varieties of vegetables, and I grow them in different locations, and I record how they've done. But naturally there are other variables at play, such as the weather, rain, how much they've been watered, soil health, whether you've added organic matter to the soil, mulched it, and all that kind of stuff. So it can be really hard to pinpoint exactly why something has grown well or hasn't grown well. And this is only my second year really going for it with the food to try and grow enough food for a year that I just don't know enough yet to make those decisions. There may be something that is going to grow absolutely awesome in this polytunnel, and I will want to grow these things in here all the time. But for the minute, I'm just kind of going with the traditional things like peppers and tomatoes and a few herbs and stuff like that. When we do get the big polytunnel out in the pasture, which is going to be in a full sun, I think what I'm going to do with this polytunnel is either use it for seed starting, which I mentioned in one of my earlier videos, although I'm not sure if it's going to be ideal for that either, because it takes a while for the sunlight to really come in here for a long amount of time when the spring comes. So I may use it for perennials like pomegranates, grapes, and things like that. That one is still open for discussion, and I think what I'm going to do is just see how things perform in here this year and then make my mind up. I don't want to sound ungrateful, because I am truly grateful to have a polytunnel in the first place, but the more I garden, the more I realise it's not just as simple as sticking seeds in soil. Weed pressure is also something that's really bad in this second half of the garden, and because we are due a heavy rain for the next few days, I really wanted to get on top of this mess, because if not, by the time I come back outside, it will be an absolute jungle. So on Sunday, I spent the full day tearing out all of the weeds, and I actually forgot just how lovely the garden looked before it got overgrown. I finally could get to my raspberries and give them a bit more freedom and airflow around their stems, and got in to give everything a good water and a tidy up. Another jam-packed week on the homestead, and I am ready for a good old snooze. Thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks for subscribing if you have done. And we'll see you in the next one, when hopefully we've got the rest of our food in the ground for 2026.